Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today we are going to become superhumans. At least that's how I felt when I first learned how to do vibe coding. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Neff. I'm the founder of Pre-Approved Me. I'm also a loan officer. I started doing loans in 2005. Over a 7 to 8 year period of time, I grew all my, business through referral relationships with real estate agents. And I've always sort of tried to be a problem solver. So any friction in my business, I really like to try to solve it. I am not a technical person by nature. I built a technology company by hiring smarter people than me. So when AI rounded the corner a little over 3.5 years ago, it was like becoming superhuman. If you combined somebody who feels friction, seeks a solution, and then tries to implement it, with now the technical capabilities to build something in real time. Now, of course, 3 years ago, it wasn't nearly as powerful as it is now. You feel like you have superhuman powers. I'm sure some of you guys have even used AI to build lightweight tools, and that is a part of what we're going to do today. At the end of this webinar, you guys are going to see me in real time build a 2-1 Buydown calculator that you can put on your website, that you could send to your clients, to your realtors, and you can do it for free. Okay, so nothing in here is going to cost you money. If you want to build it, I'm going to use my Gmail account. I'm going to use probably Lovable. This is just a system that helps you what they call vibe code, which is essentially prompt coding. I'm going to teach you guys how to do something we call prompt stacking. Prompt stacking is essentially the idea of doing more planning before you actually give the vibe code system like Lovable the information it needs to build. Okay, it helps you organize better. So it's like a little project manager, chunks it into digestible numbers. I'm going to start by going to Gemini. If you guys are taking notes, we will send out this recording at the end of this, but I'm just going to go to Gemini. My version's too advanced. I'm going to a free version of Gemini. If you have a Google account, guys, you have Gemini AI. Okay, it is free to a certain amount. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just essentially tell Gemini what I want to build. You don't have to be very particular. Now you can be. The more you planning, the better your prompt, the better your output. So I'm going to essentially tell Gemini what I want to build here. I'm going to say, I'm looking to build a web-based 2-1 buy-down mortgage calculator. I'm going to host this on my website, and I may even embed it or iframe it in third-party systems. That's my prompt, okay? I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it. So see, here's where you guys want to pay attention. 2, 1, there we go, Buydown calculator. Click submit. Look at this, it's giving me all the math. 2-1 Buydown. Made your potential home buyers while generating leads. Here's our math. Here's the key outputs. Okay, so it's done some planning now, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tell this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give Lovable the instructions you prepare for me so that it can build this into an actual calculator. Now I need to tell it lovable.dev. That's the system we're going to use today. Now there's a lot of great systems for this, guys. You don't have to use Lovable. Okay, so it needs to provide us a prompt to translate mathematical requirements into structure that AI agents can interpret. So here's our prompt. This is what Lovable is going to be looking for. Okay. Now there are a couple things, guys. A lot of people leverage this sort of technology to build lightweight tools like this, and I think that is very important. Okay, but you want to make sure that you're giving it the proper math, that you are giving it the information that it needs. And later, once we're doing this, we're going to talk about where we should actually hold up a stop sign, the things that you should not move beyond when it comes to vibe coding, because you are in the financial services industry, and there are some very important regulatory compliance issues for data security you have to follow. Okay, we're going to go through that. Okay, but for this purpose here, I'm actually, you know what I didn't do? I need to tell it right here. I'm going to tell it that I'm a loan officer, and there needs to be compliance language around the calculator so that I don't violate any compliance requirements. So can you please rewrite these to let Lovable know that I'm a loan officer and that it needs to meet any regulatory compliance disclosure requirements on the project, including my NMLS number, my equal housing opportunity logo, and my state licensing information. My NMLS number is 227081. I'm licensed in Oregon, and the name of my mortgage company is Renegade Home Mortgage. So this is what we call planning using prompt stacking, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm going through the motions of planning appropriately with this AI agent, this tool, so that I can go in and give the proper instructions to Lovable. Always go to the end, because oftentimes if there's something missing, it's going to ask you a question. Are you planning to host this on a specific domain, like renegadehomemortgage.com? Once Lovable generates the code, are you hosting it on as a standalone app? I'm just going to be hosting this in Lovable. I'm not going to connect it to a standalone domain yet. I'm going to go up. I'm going to copy this from top to bottom. So here's my prompt. Be done here. I'm going to go to Lovable now. Guys, lovable.dev. Click Get Started. I'm just going to sign in with my Google account. Hopefully this doesn't sign into the wrong one. So what Lovable does is they give you have a free plan and you get a certain amount of credits. Oh, I got 5 credits. You think I could do this in 5 credits? So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Lovable my prompt. Now, this is a fairly simple thing. There's not a lot here. I'm just going to drop it all completely into here. Okay, I'm just drop the whole thing. Boom. Click build. A lot of people out there, they talk about, you're hearing in the news, right? News about Anthropic or Claude, as they, is the name of the product, or Gemini, or OpenAPI, which is OpenAI, right? Or your Grok, or there's a bunch of different AI technologies you're hearing about out there. Systems like Lovable tend to pick the model they think is best suited for the job. Okay, and so in this case, I'm letting it decide who should be doing the math, who should be writing the UI, who should be doing all that stuff. You don't really have to worry about what model you're using in a situation like this. Now, if you were to be more complex, you were to use a system, well, we're not going to go into this today, but a system like VS Code, you would want to pick a model, you would want to give it instructions on which one to use. And that's where things get overly complex, I think, for loan officers. Okay. My opinion is most loan officers should be focused on selling. Building a lightweight tool like this, absolutely good. You should do this if you want something to deploy, put on your website. Building a website, on the other hand, I would say probably not a good idea. Okay, why would I say that? Well, the reason why is because AI actually builds their systems in a particular way that is not searchable online. So you're not going to get your SEO, you're not going to get what's called your GEO or your AEO search benefits. So you'll be invisible online. But if they go to your local market and you spent hours and hours or days and days building blog posts, posting videos, trying to, do keywords, it's going to be invisible. Okay. Most of the time, AI is using technology like this, okay, which is not deep server level programming. It's sort of UI programming. Okay. It's on the front end, not on the back end. And the search engines and the AI tools like ChatGPT, they're looking at the back ends. Okay. So you might be able to build a visually appealing website, but it's more difficult to use AI to build a proper findable website. Now, if you have any questions about that, guys, feel free to use the chat. I got Chris on my team here who can answer questions on that as we go through the rest of this phase. Okay, here's what it built. I am noticing Down here at the bottom, I've got my compliance information, my NMLS number, my licensing, equal housing opportunity disclosures, my purchase amount. Let's play with it, okay? One of the most important things you can do when you build it is you have to play with the numbers and make sure the output is what you want, okay? Now, one thing I will tell you right off the bat, there appears to be an empty box here. Okay, this is obviously not displaying in a contrast that works. So how do I fix it? Okay, well, in this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go here and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna take a screenshot.
Check your credits too to see how many edits you can do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, I got 2.7 credits left. So that took me 2.3 credits to build. So let's see how far we can get on these 2.7 remaining credits. I'm curious.
That's per day. So
Per day. Yeah, Chris makes a good point. It renews, so Lovable gives you 5 credits per day. So if you're patient, you can build relatively complex web-based tools. And I'm just going to tell it what's wrong. The text in this box doesn't have enough contrast. I can't see it in the UI.
Same for the 30-year loan term.
Oh, you're right. Okay, he pointed out another one here, so let's do this. Guys, if you want to conserve credits, do this all at one time. Be good at reviewing. These boxes do not have enough contrast to be visible. Please make the text darker to match the rest of this calculator. Now, if you ever need to, let's say you don't know the answer to the question, you want to ask questions, you can toggle between what's called build and plan. I'm not going to do that because I know what I'm giving instructions to do, but oftentimes you can use this like a coach, right, to help you understand what you need to actually ask for or to plan something out. One thing it's always important to check as well is when you're building a calculator like this, you want to make sure it's mobile optimized. Like 70% of web traffic today is from cell phones. So it is a massive piece of the market. It's only growing. And so in order to validate that this is optimized for mobile, what you do is up here on the right, and most of the vibe coding systems like Lovable or Base 44 or whatever, they have similar things here. So like desktop view versus tablet versus mobile. So you want to review to make sure that everything is visible and that there's no weird lines, like it's not taking this box and pushing it off the edge, that everything is respected here. Because you just don't want your clients to get into a calculator that looks bad. See, look at this. It says it did this. It darkened, toggled term button text, and boosted the seller's subsidy card. No, it didn't. None of this stuff is working. Yeah, let's refresh it and see what happens, okay? Okay, there we go. Now we're talking. That looks pretty sick. Now, you guys can, of course, tell it change colors, add this. If you wanted to add another calculator, you could potentially add another calculator and tab it out. So there's multiple tabs. But there are some important things you guys need to understand here when it comes to data security. One thing we'll notice about this example that we're using today is that we are specifically not authenticating users. We are not asking for emails. We're not asking for passwords. We are not asking for their social security numbers. You could technically apply the same concept, prompt stacked, build a form, collect data, have it do all this great stuff, but then you are responsible for the data security. You're responsible for how it's housed, what you're making public. You could even technically connect third-party systems using what's called an API, which is like the handshake between two pieces of technology where the data gets transferred, and do some really amazing things. But the problem is you have to be very careful because you're responsible for any issues regarding data. So in this case, I am not asking for that information, okay? Now, if you want, in this case, if you want to, let's say, stay top of mind with the client, if you're gonna put this on your webpage and you want to stay top of mind, there are two good ways to do that. Number one, retargeting. So go to your Facebook, build a quick ad, place a retargeting pixel on your website so that no matter what, wherever they go online, they're going to see your information, okay? That will keep you front and center with them for the next, 14 days. Okay, so retargeting is a good and keep them coming back. The second thing, if you're gonna build forms, if you want to use forms, use a validated form provider. Most CRMs, okay, go high level. Probably half of you guys on this call use go high level. You can build a form and go high level. You can give your AI the form, literally, and tell it, add the form here as a call to action, where they click a button, then they opt in. Okay, so you can add an opt-in, like you want to go over these numbers in person, click here. You want to apply for a loan, click here. Make sure the clicks take you to a third-party secure environment. Okay, really important, guys. I promise you, if you get into using this stuff, you're going to feel like you have more powers than you do in your head. Okay, could you make something epic work on the surface? Yes, but you might expose an API key. You might have data get hacked. There's all sorts of things that are really concerning that might happen if you don't know exactly what to look for and you don't know how to do database management. Okay, and it will tell you it's doing it for you securely. But if you don't have somebody to do a code review, please stop with the light. You stop at the point where you're collecting data. Leverage third-party systems like a form to do that. Okay. What questions do we have to this point before I move on to the next piece?
We were just answering why we're using Gemini ahead of time.
Yep.
To save credits and Lovable.
Yeah, exactly, guys. So it's a great question. So why do we prompt stack? Is because if you had a subscription or even in here, you could use the planning session to prompt and build exactly what we built here. This is actually technically Lovable's primary AI that they use, even though they're integrated with several different models, is a Gemini model. They use Gemini primarily. So we're doing it in our free Gemini account so that we don't waste credits here, which costs money. All right. As you can see, I only have half a credit, but in under 5 credits for free, I built a mobile optimized 2-1 Buydown calculator. Let's change these numbers because we got to test it. Okay, 650. Let's say my down payment's 250. Let's make my rate 8%. Just make sure everything moves as it's supposed to be. Yeah, year 3, year 2, year 1. Guys, get your calculators out. Run the numbers. Okay, make sure these look right. Do it like 5 or 10 times. Okay, make sure that all of these numbers make sense. I'm not going to get my calculator out and do that today, but you really want to make sure that they make sense. Other thing, and I'm not your compliance officer and I'm not responsible for your compliance, but if you do have a compliance team, just send it to them, right? Have them look at it. It doesn't hurt, okay? You can put on your website, put on a page that's not live, send it to them, or just send them this. All you have to do is click share. You can grab a link and share it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to publish this first, guys. So the next step, guys, I'm going to publish this. I'm going to click publish. And it's just going to give me a Lovable domain. I'm not going to publish it to my domain, but it'll be hosted on the Lovable website. Here it is, Buydown Buddy Pro. Pretty sick. Look at that. Buydown Buddy Pro. So building the tool, it's like all marketing, right? You can have the greatest system, the greatest mortgage business, the best relationships with lenders, the best processor, an amazing understanding of underwriting guidelines, but your clients, no one knows it until you put it in front of your clients. Okay, so the next most important thing, guys, how do you get this out there? Okay, how do you get this out there? So you can take this.
I did send you the Renegade X code if you want to change the color and embed it in your
Okay, all right. So let's see, where'd you send that to me?
Slack.
All right. My brother was kind enough to send me my actual color scheme here. I'm going to go back to my Lovable project. Please update my color scheme to match this hex code. Hopefully it can do it in half a credit. Let's find out. So you can take that link I just sent you guys and you can put it on your website. Okay, now keep in mind, anytime you iframe a tool like this on your website, it is now public. Okay, not just people can find it, but people can actually go in and copy it. Okay, it's not difficult to inspect a website and know exactly how they built it or to swipe it and use it for their own purposes. Now, it becomes a big deal when you have something that requires security, right? So if they swipe it and there's an API key on the web layer, right, instead of on the database side. These are complex terms. So essentially, let's not connect APIs. If you want to do something more complex, find somebody technical to help you. Now, I am relatively technical now after 12 years of operating a software company. My team won't let me deploy and release tools without a full code review from our engineering team. So we build something like this, I have to have it reviewed. Okay, because we want to make sure that nothing is gonna break, nothing is going to be written incorrectly, there's no security issues. All of that stuff has to go through a process. Now, in my mind, the next most important thing is how you're deploying it. So easy website, okay? Add it to your email signature, okay? So you've got a 2-1 Buydown calculator. Maybe you get a subscription or every day you build a new calculator. Maybe tomorrow you're building a DSCR calculator and you just add it to this project and you create tabs for a suite of calculators. Pretty simple. Okay, totally good use case for this solution. But in my mind, the most important thing is creating an experience where your customers can get and your realtors can get all of that information 24/7, 365, right from the palm of their hand. So for those of you who don't know, what we do is we build mobile apps for mortgage companies. And I think the way we do it is very unique. What you guys can see here is I have a mobile app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add this calculator, which we just built. I'm going to add it to my suite of calculators here, which many of them, by the way, like these investment calculators, I built using AI. I have literally a suite of calculators here that I built in Lovable that my realtors can use. Now, this is a secure way to deploy it because it is behind a validated, code reviewed, compliant solution. Anything that's behind these walls is safe. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to deploy this calculator into the ecosystem that all of my clients and all my real estate agents have in the palm of their hand. So I'm going to go to my company settings here. I'm going to go to what's called my app configuration. Our custom app builder allows you to take any of these tools and embed them right in the app. So I have a page which is called calculators, which you saw here. Okay, this is the same thing you're seeing here. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to add a 2-1 Buydown calculator. Okay, so here's the, excuse me. I'm going to add a widget. I'm going to now open this. I'm going to call this the 2-1 Buydown. I'm going to make it look like that. Now, you can upload images. Well, I'm not really doing a whole demo of our system today, but I want to show you just how quickly and easily you can embed a tool like this in really any system that you own. So if you own a link tree, you can embed it in a link tree, guys. Okay, it's very slick. So I'm going to go back to my app here. Here's my app. Let's open it up. Oh, I got to refresh it because I added a new tool. It is. Look at the very bottom. 2-1 Buydown calc. Let's launch it. Guys, in 33 minutes, we prompt stacked for free using free credits. We used a free Lovable account to build a 2-1 Buydown calculator. We embedded it in a custom mobile app for my clients and realtors to access anytime, anywhere they have their phone. Pretty slick. CV Carl here asked me a great question. What calculators have I created? Yeah, let's just go through them. So in my system already, like years and years ago, we built a purchase money. This is not something we vibe coded. We have a purchase money, refinance analysis, and affordability. These are the three that come default inside of our system. But I have been trying to get in with a bunch of veterans. And so I wanted to make sure my realtors who work with veterans have a suite of VA calcs. So I built a suite of VA calculators, VA payment, bonus entitlement calculators, residual income calculator, IRL recoup calculators. I built a suite of investment calculators. So this is like your BRRRR strategy, investment analysis to walk you through how much cash flow you're making on the property. House hacking, if you want to buy a property and rent out your rooms, buy a property, rent out the second duplex or whatever, the second unit. Fix and flip, DSCR strategy, HELOC payoff. This is like an all-in-one sort of deal. I'm going to go back here. I've got one that this was inspired directly from one of my real estate agents who said that they're really struggling in their business to answer the question that buyers are walking into their open houses with. And that question is, I want to wait till the market crashes, or should I wait till rates drop? And so what I did is I built a cost of waiting calculator where they can essentially ask them some questions about what their goals are. And based on those details, we make the recommendation whether they should wait or whether they should buy. Just a pure math question, okay? And it makes some assumptions here. And again, this is why you want to do thorough prompt stacking. You want to use goals, okay? Give it the instructions of what your output, really what you want it to do, what you want it to prove, okay? And you can even tell it how complex it should be. So use your prompt stacking, guys, to get the plan really dialed in before you actually spend credits in your AI system. And of course, I did my 2 on Buydown. I have some more calculators here. I've got this suite of real estate tools as well. This is a bit more advanced, okay? But I do have a calculator in here, which is kind of like what's called the seller net sheet. So in this case, what this was designed to do is obviously help them explain to the seller how much they're going to make at the end of the transaction after all the fees. I also have built a calculator here at the bottom, which I call the offer architect. This was inspired by an agent telling me that every time their clients ask them the question, how do you get paid? That they freeze up. They're struggling to explain how they make money. Okay, because in 2024, you know, that it used to be all part of the listing arrangement, but now it's a part of the negotiations. Who's paying for it? The seller? Is it split? Is the buyer? And this actually kicks out a response. And you can see here, I even co-brand it with the realtor's information. This even kicks out a response for that. Now, guys, I built this in Lovable. Okay, I built it in Lovable, and I made all of these tools available for my real estate agents in the mobile app. Now, here's some important things for you to consider, okay? This is a very slippery slope that I went down. I'm very fortunate to have a technical team. I'm very fortunate to have a technical brother who's like, if I'm a tier 5 technical, he's a 6 or 7, okay? He's not quite an engineer, but he's got the brain for it and he's got the time because this is what he does. I had to ask myself the question, where should my time be spent? Because if you start doing this, I promise you, it is addicting. Once you can tell something like Lovable to build a tool and you get a tool at the end of it, you will blink and you will have lost your entire Friday. And it will feel amazing until you realize you're neglecting your business, right? You're neglecting your clients, you're neglecting your realtors, you didn't push that file the way you should. So the question is this: when do you buy versus when do you build? Unless you're committed to continuing to improve, spend time, learn the new models, test it thoroughly, then there are oftentimes solutions you need to just trust. It's better to buy. So I'm just telling you this because I think it's important to know where the line is. And unless you're going to go full-time developer, please try to stay just in the UI section, like calculators, that kind of stuff. Okay. Web landing pages is a great example. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to my Gemini here.
You need a, yeah.
All right. So here's my original prompt, guys. The instructions I gave it. I'm just going to paste it right into here. Okay. Now, one thing about this, okay, for my purposes, and really if you're going to deploy it on your website, you do want to specify this. It says embed it or iframe it. Okay. The reason I said that is because I knew I was going to take this and I was going to embed it in my app. Because my goal is to create an ecosystem where my clients can get literally all of their education about mortgages. home ownership. Okay, all of it. My realtors have access to all the tools they could possibly spend money on, or questions they have when they're out there meeting with clients. Yeah, my brother makes a good point. Guys, the prompt itself,
It's not the magic sauce.
yeah, this isn't the secret. Okay, it will imply, it will take what you say, and it will, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it will make some assumptions about what you're trying to build, and then it will ask questions if you need to change things. Like, would you like to help drafting a specific? Right, it's asking me questions about it. I oftentimes, even when I'm doing this, before I want an output, I will literally ask in the prompt, I will say, what am I missing? Help me plan, so that we go through a question and answer process before we actually get the output we're looking for. That's a great way to ensure that you create a thorough project. Okay. If there's risk factors involved too, you want to make sure you include that. So yeah, pretty straightforward, guys. And I do highly recommend Lovable. I've used probably 10 of these now, and it is currently my favorite. Currently my favorite way to create lightweight solutions. Hey, book a meeting with me. I'd love to tell you how you can turn these lightweight tools into long-term customer engagement. Let's talk through it. And until next time, take care.